Hiruzen took in a breath from his pipe, a flame of happiness bursting from the end. All three fresh gaining teams were signed up for the Chunin exams. He'd always known they were a special bunch. All were the next leaders of their respective clans, besides Sakura and Naruto. I need to figure out how Team 7 should be restricted, considering they have a fourth member. Hiruzen sighed, closing his eyes. I suppose the proctors can choose in each of their exams, he chuckled. That'll work. Now, time for more paperwork. He glanced at the wall of his office. Photos of the previous Hokage hung in their pristine frames. Oh, Minato. If only you could see your son now. Chunin exam hall, next day. Naruto, Haku, Sasuke, and Sakura stood in front of the exam hall for the Chunin exams. Today was the day they'd been preparing for over the last 3 months. Naruto and Sasuke had improved in their taijutsu and ninjutsu. The Uchiha had also learned to activate his Sharingan on command with the help of Kakashi. As for the blonde, he'd finally found the chance to get away from Haku for a while over the last few days, giving him time to train with his other elements. In total, he'd learned 1 technique from each of the 5 elements. He'd also tried using Scorch style again, but couldn't concentrate his chakra enough at the moment. Haku spent most of her time sparring against Sasuke, since she was already stronger than the others. She'd only learned a single wind technique. As for Sakura, she'd made a significant amount of progress. As Haku and Kakashi expected, she quickly became fluent in illusions, a handful of genjutsu now at her disposal. Haku also taught her basic medical treatment, which she also caught on to quickly. Without a word, the 4 entered the exam hall. At the entrance was a Chunin who gave them instructions. They were to head to the 3rd floor where the exam room was. For whatever reason, they only had an hour to reach the room. They made their way up the stairs, stumbling into a large group of genin. They surrounded a door that said exam room above it. 2 other shinobi were blocking the door. Naruto couldn't help but notice the similarities between Izumo and Kotetsu, Chunin that Naruto had known since childhood, although they looked much younger. This isn't the right floor, Haku stated. There's a genjutsu cast on the stairs, making it seem like we went to the 3rd floor, but we're actually on the 2nd, Sakura added. Looks like your training paid off for once, Sasuke huffed under his breath. That must be why they gave us only an hour to get to the exam room, Naruto whispered. We should just walk past everyone. Why? Sakura asked. The more people that fall for this petty trick, the less enemies we'll have to worry about in the exam, Sasuke answered, taking the lead, walking past the mob. The others followed, but Haku felt someone watching them. Apparently, the others did as well, all turning to see a bizarre sight. Large round eyes, black bowl cut, bushy eyebrows, and a green jumpsuit. You're Team 7, are you not? The boy asked, getting into their faces abruptly. Yes, Naruto answered, confused. And you're Sasuke Uchiha, correct? The green-clad boy asked, turning to the Uchiha. Sasuke glared. So what if I am? My name is Rock Lee, and I challenge you to a duel! I'll pass, Sasuke scoffed, pushing away the now-named Rock Lee. I don't fight with weaklings. Besides, we need to conserve our energy for the exams, Haku added. Rock Lee turned to the last of the Yuki clan. You must be Haku Yuki. I wish to challenge you as well. I must decline. Lee's look of dejection lasted only a second. What about you, Naruto Uzumaki? Will you listen to my request? Naruto was about to respond, but a voice from the balcony above called out first. Lee, I told you not to run off. Team 7 looked up at the girl. She had dark brown eyes and hair tied in 2 buns. Beside her was someone Naruto recognized instantly, based off Hinata's descriptions. Long, dark brown hair tied in a very low ponytail. Black forehead protector with straps on the side. Beige shirt, gray pants, and bandages along his right arm and leg. His eyes, the same as all Hyuga. Neji, Naruto almost spat, turning to Rock Lee. You're with him and that girl? Yes, we are the members of Team 9, also known as Team Guy, Lee declared. I'm sorry for the intrusion. You are correct, I should save my energy for the exam. However, if we meet again during the exam, we will duel. Rock Lee vanished from view, reappearing on the balcony beside Neji and the girl. She hit him on the head out of anger. What was that for, Ten? Lee asked in pain. For being stupid. Guy-sensei told you not to fight before the exam. Let's just get going, Neji huffed, glancing down at Team 7. It's not like they would pose much of a challenge against us. Sasuke glared, Sakura moments away from retorting, but Haku raised her hand, telling them not to get into a fight. Naruto reluctantly had to agree, but he never stopped looking at Neji as Team Guy walked away. If the little information he had about him was true, then if they ended up encountering each other during the exam, things would get ugly. Naruto, let's go, Haku insisted, beckoning the blonde to follow. Naruto took a deep breath, following his team in silence. They made it to the exam room, Sasuke opening the door with a loud boom, a smirk on his face. Naruto regretted the Uchiha's decision. All the Genin participants already in the room, releasing waves of ki. Luckily, Team 7 had experienced Zabuza's presence, which was many times more frightening than the ki caused by the 100 or so Genin. During their training, Kakashi had Haku attack her teammates with her ki, so they could get used to the feeling. Even so, Sakura still felt nervous, still not fully accustomed to the feeling of ki. Haku and Naruto remained wary, the latter not even acknowledging the ki. At this point, he was certain the Nine Tails was making him immune to it for whatever reason. So, you guys entered the exam too? Naruto turned to see Shikamaru, accompanied by Choji and Ino. Behind them he saw Team 8 entering the room as well. Looks like everyone from our class is here, Shino pointed out as Team 7, 8, and 10 formed a circle near the entrance. But I believe one introduction is in order for Team 10. Oh yes, Naruto perked up, gesturing to Haku beside him. Team 10, this is Haku. I'm sure you've heard of her by now. He said his next words in a whisper. But keep her unique power a secret. Nice to meet you, Shikamaru groaned. Choji and Ino giving more formal greetings. Haku bowed in return, remaining silent. Kiba glanced at the enemy Genin, who were still glaring at the Leaf members. Looks like we have lots of competition. Agreed, Naruto said. I know this might sound like a bad idea, but all of us from the Hidden Leaf should have a loose alliance for the time being. Why do you say that? Choji asked. We don't know what these exams will be, so we should plan to help each other if possible. That way, more of us will get further into the exam. Logical, Shino admitted. However, this alliance would be extremely loose, meaning our teams could betray one another. Yeah, and on top of that, your team has an extra member, so you have an advantage, Shikamaru pointed out. Naruto couldn't deny those points, unfortunately. Luckily, he didn't have to, as someone walked towards the group, wearing the Hidden Leaf headband. I suggest you keep your voices down, the young man said. You're fresh Genin, meaning everyone has it out for you. The man had gray hair tied in a ponytail, black eyes and round glasses. Dark purple shirt, pants, and gloves with a white undershirt. Who are you? Ino asked, ready to use her mind transfer jutsu if the man attacked them. The name's Kabuto. I've taken these Chunin exams many times in the past, a testament to how difficult they are. You've failed multiple times? Sasuke scoffed. You must be pretty weak. Kabuto adjusted his glasses. Perhaps. But almost everyone here has failed the exam before. Besides all of you, there's only one team that I've never seen before." He turned, pointing to 3 genin on the other side of the room, standing against the wall. "Those 3. The rest only glanced at the trio, but when Naruto looked, he found himself unable to look away. The first was a blonde girl with teal eyes, her hair tied in 4 pigtails. She wore a light purple, shoulderless garment that came down her thighs, a red sash around her waist. Fishnets covered her shoulders, right calf and left thigh. Lastly, her forehead protector was around her neck, the hidden Sand Village symbol carved onto it. The second was a boy wearing a baggy, black, full-body suit with a red and yellow circle, and also a hood with cat ears and the hidden sand symbol. Something the size of a human was wrapped in bandages, attached to his back. Strangely, purple paint was drawn onto his face. The last one was who caught Naruto's eye. Spiky crimson red hair and green eyes, with black tanuki-like rings around them. The kanji for love was carved onto his forehead. His bodysuit was similar to the first boy's, only shorter. A white sash came across his right shoulder and a wide leather band over his left. The band had his headband tied to it, also holding a large gourd made of sand on his back. The One-Tails. The 3 words echoed in Naruto's mind, making his eyes grow wide in fear. The fox had spoken to him. There was another one like him, another Jinchuriki, in this very room. He'd learned that there were multiple-tailed beasts several years ago, but never imagined he'd meet someone like him. He had to speak with the red-haired boy as soon as possible. He didn't get the chance, having to listen back in as Kabuto placed a card on the ground. After channeling chakra into the card, the face of the One-Tails Jinchuriki appeared. Kabuto lifted it, reading the card. "His name is Gaara. He and his siblings, Tamari and Kankuro, are children of the current Kaze Kage. He possesses the magnet-style Kekkei and is said to have an ability that has gained the title, the Ultimate Defense. His ability to control sand is unmatched, even as a genin. He's completed multiple high-ranking missions without suffering a single wound, not even a scratch." "So, his name's Gaara?" Naruto whispered to himself, looking back to the boy once again, only to see Gaara staring back. Without a word, Gaara walked towards him, a neutral expression permanently on his face. Naruto's comrades and Kabuto watched in silence as Gaara stopped in front of the blonde. "What is your name?" Gaara asked in a husky yet hollow voice. "Naruto Uzumaki." "Gaara of the Sand," Gaara replied. "I'm going to kill you." Naruto's eyes narrowed. "Is that you speaking? Or the demon?" "What's the difference?" Gaara replied. Naruto's heart dropped. This Gaara boy had clearly grown up in a much different environment. He didn't know how, but he could tell Gaara wasn't in control the same way he was over the fox. The One-Tails was free within him. "Can you wait?" Naruto asked. "What?" Gaara replied in confusion. "Can you wait to kill me until later?" "Why?" Naruto's gaze held firm. "Because I want to help you first." Gaara blinked. "I don't understand." "I'll explain after this exam, when we can be alone." Gaara slowly turned to the surrounding shinobi, all eyes on him and Naruto. "I can kill all of them, then you will explain." "No. If you do that, I'll kill you, especially if you hurt my friends," Naruto stated firmly. Gaara turned back to him. "Very well. Until we meet again, Naruto Uzumaki." Gaara walked back to his siblings without a care in the world. Naruto watched him, finally turning to his comrades. "What was that about?" Sakura asked. Naruto didn't answer, nor would he have had time to, as the door behind him was blown open with a resounding bang. "Alright, maggots, settle down and stop with all the killing intent. Get to your seats. The only rule is that you can't sit beside any of your teammates." The man was large, covered from head to toe in a black trench coat. A black bandana covered the top of his head, 2 long scars across his face. Everyone moved quickly to a random seat in front of the dozens of tables. Naruto found himself between 2 people, a random shinobi from the hidden stone village, and Hinata Hyuga. The girl gave him a thin smile. He grinned back, glancing behind him at his teammates. Haku was a few tables behind him, Sakura at the table across from her. Sasuke was on the other side of the room. The man moved to the front of the room and addressed the genin. "My name is Ibiki Morino, your proctor for the first stage of the Chunin exams. This first stage is going to be a written test. On either side of the room, you'll see Chunin who passed the exam last time. They'll be watching you as you perform the test." He looked to one of the Chunin, nodding. The Chunin nodded back, standing up to hand out the tests to each genin. "Your test has 9 questions, which you will have 1 hour to answer. When there are only 15 minutes left, I'll give you the 10th question. If the Chunin catch you cheating, your entire team will be disqualified." Multiple teams began to shout in protest, stopped by an explosion of chakra from Ibiki. "Shut up! I am the proctor, so I make the rules. So if you want to chicken out right now, get it over with." Surprisingly, no one left, meaning there was only one option. "Alright then. In that case, we shall begin now." All genin turned their tests over, the look of confusion coming over them in an instant. Naruto couldn't help but feel a sense of dread. The questions were far too difficult for a genin to answer. He was one of the top students in the academy class. He knew he had no chance answering them. Sakura likely could, and maybe Haku, but all of them needed to complete the test if they wanted to pass to the next stage. He glanced around, his eyes moving fast enough that neither Ibiki nor the observing Chunin noticed. Most of the other participants were in the same boat as him. However, he saw a few of them were already writing down answers. He felt a chill rush through his legs, making him look down. Letters were written with frost along his thighs, courtesy of Haku. It spelled out, "Don't get caught." It took Naruto a few moments, and another glance around the room to realize what he had to do. Sasuke's Sharingan was active. Akamaru was atop Kiba's head, scanning the other genin. Ino was slumped over, her mind transfer jutsu likely active. The purpose of this exam isn't necessarily to test our knowledge, it's to test our ability to get information, Naruto thought. Information gathering is one of the key talents of a shinobi. The Chunin around us are watching to catch us cheating. Ibiki-sensei we'd be disqualified only if we were caught. Out on real missions, being caught would be the end of the road. Naruto smiled in understanding, but then realized he didn't have an intel gathering skill like Sasuke or Haku. The best he had was his quick vision, but that wasn't reliable unless someone beside him was already writing down their answers. The boy from the hidden stone was already caught cheating, but Hinata had her Byakugan, meaning she was likely to get all answers correct, thanks to its ability to see through people and objects. He racked his brain, trying to think of a way to pass. Then it dawned on him. The perfect way for him to pass. Underneath the table, he weaved a set of hand signs. A tiny shadow clone roughly the size of a baseball appearing at his feet, vanishing in a body flicker. It appeared at Haku's feet, the Yuki glancing down at it, realizing what Naruto wanted. She used frost letters to tell the clone the answer before it turned to a ball of smoke. Haku instantly froze it before it could rise and alert the observers. Naruto found out shadow clones would send their memories back to the original upon destruction, shortly before the Land of Waves mission, and now he had everything he needed to answer the first 9 questions. Exam takers were being thrown out left and right, Naruto deciding not to write down everything at once. If the enemy genin were watching him, he wanted to downplay his abilities for the time being. But in hindsight, his confrontation with Gaara before the test would place him and his team as high-priority targets to the others. Ibiki looked at the clock. 15 minutes left, which means I will now give you the 10th question. But before I do, the rest of you have a choice. If you want, you can bow out instead of taking the last question. If you do, you'll be able to come back for the next exams. If you decide to take the last question, but fail to answer correctly, you and your team will be banned from ever taking the exam again, keeping yourselves as Genin forever. All hell broke loose, angry Genin shouting in protest. I make the rules here, Ibiki declared, unleashing a ferocious wave of ki. Even Naruto felt himself tense slightly. Make your choice now, or I will make it for you. Naruto looked at his teammates, all of them with neutral expressions. Haku wasn't worried about getting the Chunin title, considering she was already at that level. Sasuke had to move forward no matter the cost. Becoming Chunin would give him much more freedom to act as a shinobi. Freedom he needed. Sakura would follow him anywhere. As for Naruto, the exams would give him the chance to become stronger, and even the threat of never becoming Chunin wouldn't deter him. He then glanced at his old classmates. All of them were forging ahead too. The enemy Genin also made their decisions. Only 26 teams left, Ibiki grunted. More than last year, surprisingly. I guess I only have one thing to say to the rest of you. You all passed the first stage of the exams. It took a few moments for everyone to register what Ibiki just said. The Jonin deciding to explain. There were two things the first exam was testing you on. The first took place during the first 9 questions. You were supposed to use your skills in order to gather information and solve the answers. If you got caught, you failed. The next was whether or not you were willing to put the mission above anything, in the form of taking a chance to answer the 10th question. And all of you managed to pass both. Ibiki untied his bandana, revealing the top of his head. Massive scars and indentations riddled his head, a symbol of the torture he'd endured during his long life as a shinobi. This is what happens to a shinobi during interrogation. I've lost many comrades over the years, quite a few of them willing to give out information after only a fraction of the pain I've endured, but I have never wavered. That is what you must learn if you want to become a shinobi. Confusion was steadily wearing off at this point, joy overwhelming the first-timers. Ibiki then revealed the 2 Chunin hidden among the Genin. In the back of Haku's mind, she assumed that had been the case, considering there was an even number of Genin, when having her on Team 7 should have made it odd. Now that the first exam is over, all of you will be moving on. Your proctor will be here any... Out of nowhere, the large window on one side of the room shattered. A woman flying through, landing directly in front of the startled Ibiki. A large banner appeared behind them both, unraveling to reveal a bizarre message. This is no time to get happy, little punks. You still need to get through the second stage, my exam. I'm the amazing Anko Mitarashi, and I'll be your proctor. Follow me to Training Ground 44, the Forest of Death. You're early, Anko, Ibiki groaned. Anko blinked. Well, I blame you for letting so many teams pass. There's more than last time. This year's batch seems to be promising, Ibiki replied. Just get going and don't kill any of them. Anko scoffed. Of course not. It'll be much more fun to watch them squirm during the exam. The newly named Anko then jumped back out the window, stunned Genin staring for what seemed like an eternity before they regained their senses. All of them jumped out the shattered window, following her in the direction of the next exam. Ibiki watched them with a grim expression. If the participants thought his test was hard, Anko's was going to be a nightmare. The Genin arrived at the Forest of Death, filled with trees many times the normal size. The area was surrounded by an iron fence, but it was unclear whether the fence was there to keep the Genin inside, or something else from getting out. Most likely, it was both. Now that Naruto got the chance, he was able to observe Anko, She had light brown eyes and purple hair that covered her forehead protector, and was tied back in a high, fanned-out ponytail. Mesh armor went over her large chest and ended at her thighs. Over that she wore an overcoat, tan on the outside, purple on the inside. Around her waist was an orange miniskirt. Pale gray shin guards covered her wide, muscular legs. In addition, a snake pendant was tied around her neck. The woman began the explanation of the second exam. In a very sadistic way, Haku pointed out to her team. Each team was to be given one scroll before entering the forest. There were 2 types of scrolls, a heaven scroll and an earth scroll. For a squad to pass, they needed one of each type, meaning they had to take it from another team. It didn't matter how, that's why each Genni had to save a waiver so the Hidden Leaf wouldn't be held responsible for their potential deaths. At most, only 13 teams would pass, so you were allowed to collect more than one Heaven and Earth scroll. The catch was they only had 5 days to obtain both scrolls, and couldn't enter the tower at the center of the forest until they did. Your team will step into this tent and receive your scroll before the exam starts. Once you enter, you cannot leave, so if you want to give up, do it now, Anko directed. The first team walked forward to get their scroll, the other teams already creating plans for the test. Sasuke was coerced by Haku that a plan was necessary, that they couldn't go in blindly. Naruto was about to join them when he felt someone behind him. Ever since they spoke, Naruto found that he could sense Gaara's chakra and bloodlust, even when he deactivated all his senses. He assumed it was thanks to the One-Tails. Uzumaki, you will now explain your previous statements before the next exam begins, Gaara demanded. Naruto glanced at Haku, nodding. The girl nodded back as Naruto followed Gaara away from the other Genin. They walked past his siblings, Temari and Kankuro, cold eyes staring at him. He sensed plenty of fear in them, but not from himself, but from their own brother. It was understandable, considering Gaara wasn't much of a human going off his deranged chakra. Now talk, before I decide to kill you without hearing your words, Gaara ordered. What did you mean when you said you wanted to help me? The One-Tails isn't sealed inside you the same way the fox is sealed in me, isn't it? Gaara blinked, Naruto taking that as a sign he was correct. Why do you want to kill me? The blonde asked. To prove my existence. How does killing me prove your existence? You are strong. I must kill you so that I can remain the strongest. Naruto frowned. And what does the mark on your forehead mean? Gaara's eyes twitched, his sand gourd vibrating. This kanji was a mark I gave myself. I am the only one who can love myself. I love no one else, just like no one else loved me. But you have siblings, and I heard your father was the Kazekage, Naruto pointed out. My siblings fear me. My father has tried to kill me on multiple occasions. He has sent assassins. Even my uncle, the only one who accepted me, turned out to be a liar. He tried to kill me, killing himself in the process. Naruto felt his fists clench. You've had a rough childhood. Worse than mine. Gaara would have raised an eyebrow if he had any. His confusion was barely noticeable. How was that possible when you carried the same burden as me? Luck, I suppose, Naruto admitted. People hate me, but they haven't tried to kill me because of the third Hokage. Plus, I've been able to make some friends, though only one of them knows I have the Nine Tails. So, what do you plan to do now that you know all this? Gaara asked, folding his arms. Naruto looked up, staring into Gaara's blank eyes. You live only for yourself. That's the opposite of me. I live to help and protect my friends. So how about this? Naruto reached his hand out. Will you be my friend, Gaara? Gaara blinked once more. I will consider your offer, after I have had time to understand. The exam is about to begin. We will talk later. One more thing then, Naruto stopped him. During this next test, please don't go after any of the Hidden Leaf teams. Gaara didn't look back. I will not kill them, but I cannot promise I won't take their scrolls. The first team I encounter is the only one we will need to complete this test. The redhead walked away. Naruto breathed a sigh of relief. He could wait, and the fact his friends wouldn't be in danger was a relief. At this point, all he had to do was hope Gaara accepted his friendship. If he did, then he would have to show him a new way of living, just like he was currently doing with Haku. The thought of her instantly made him draw parallels between her and Gaara. Both grew up without love, but Haku was able to love someone, while Gaara wasn't, due to how aggressive people were to him in the past. His thoughts were cut off by a shout from Sakura. He looked to them, seeing that they were ready for the second exam to begin. He had to put Gaara to the back of his mind. They had to get past the forest of death. He ran up to his group, Sasuke glaring at him. "Did you finish your business with that Gaara guy?" the Uchiha asked. "For now." Sasuke rolled his eyes. "Let's get going. We have our scroll and our chosen entry gate." Naruto nodded, standing beside Haku. "Anko-sensei spoke to me a moment ago. I'm not allowed to use Ice Style during this part of the exam, due to us being a four-man squad." "Makes sense," Naruto huffed. "Regardless, we have to get through this exam, so let's get going." Team 7 nodded back, hearing Anko's voice as she counted down for the beginning of the exam. All teams heard a siren, the gates opening simultaneously. Sasuke smirked, Sakura frowned, Haku closed her eyes, and Naruto took in a deep breath. In unison, they dashed forward, running into the dark forest, leaving the safety of the village behind. Things are about to get serious, everyone thought. If you like what you just heard, consider hitting the subscribe button and bell icon to get notified about new videos. If there's a part you've missed, then check out the entire playlist on screen. If you like this story, please share it with your fellow anime lovers. Any support helps a lot. That's all for now. This is Ninja Kai, disappearing in a golden flash.